The incompetent felon of the United States of America is busy with vanity projects, and more nefarious actors like Stephen Miller are unloading a lot of fascism on the back end. So on the front end, here is what Kanks is primarily interested in. Kylie, pop this up. We have him showing off the 24 karat gold in the Oval Office, some of the highest quality 24 karat gold used in the Oval and Cabinet Room of the White House. Foreign leaders and everyone else, quote, freak out when they see the quality and beauty. Best Oval Office ever in terms of success and look. So not only is this wildly immature and sounds like freak out and best Oval Office better. I mean, I don't know if he's been spending time with his granddaughter on the PJ, going to play golfs or what's going on. But behind, so he puts that out. That's the forward facing president. This, Ken Kleppenstein has some devastating reporting that mainstream media has not picked up at all. And he's reporting that there is a national security directive. It's called NSPM 7, and it targets anti-capitalism, anti-Christian, and anti-American opinions as indicators of extremist violence, authorizing an army of 4,000 counterterrorism officers to prevent crimes that haven't happened. This obviously is the work of Stephen Miller. I don't know that for a fact, but I know that Kanks is too lazy. He's too intellectually lazy to have put this out. And here's how devastating this gets. Kylie, pop up the information that's in this directive. The Trump administration isn't only targeting organizations or groups, but now individuals and entities whom NSPM 7 says can be identified by any of the following indicators of violence: anti-capitalism, anti-Americanism, anti-Christianity, support for the overthrow of the United States government, extremism on migration, extremism on race, extremism on gender, hostility towards those who hold traditional American views on family, hostility towards those who hold traditional views on religion, and hostility towards those who hold traditional American views on morality.
I look at that. Number one, this is the thought police, if I'm not mistaken, because it says crimes that haven't happened. So what you think, and then this anti-Americanism, anti-racism. How dare they act like they're going after anti-racism when they are the biggest racists? But this is terrifying on every level. I assume this means monitoring social media and all kinds of other violations of privacy.
Yes, I think what they're doing is they are doing fascist stuff. They are in the throes of trying to completely dismantle American democracy. And then at the same time, they are going to call out those that are calling that out. Mm-hmm. So you have this directive, which is completely different from an executive order. And this is very, very dangerous. And a lot of these directives, per Ken Kleppenstein, are private and are sealed. But this one they made public. And Stephen Miller over the weekend was tweeting about sending troops into Portland or Chicago. So he's already using this directive. And so as we're sitting here in the United States trying to figure out what rights we have left, let's check in with the Supreme Court. Justice Clarence Thomas said the Supreme Court should take a more critical approach to settled precedent, saying decided cases are not, quote, the gospel, and suggesting some may have been based on, quote, something somebody dreamt up and others went along with. Now, Clarence Thomas is no great mind, and he is, clearly beholden to racist Nazis. His main benefactor is, what's his name, pumps Crow? No, not the Coke. It's Harlan Crow, I believe.
Crow. I'm sorry. Yeah, you're right.
He collects as a hobby Nazi dishware. And he rolls out Clarence Thomas to provide him cover that, oh, no, I'm not that racist. I just like Nazi shit. And I have this black Supreme Court justice in my pocket. But this is something, when you think about all of the hearings to confirm Supreme Court justices, that a lot of the questioning is about precedent and upholding precedent. And he has completely just signaled that the court is ready to upend decades and decades of progress and precedent, and they are ready to dismantle civil liberties. And I guarantee you the very first one is going to be gay marriage.
Well, these people have continued to show who they are on the Supreme Court. They have overturned a 90-year precedent that federal agencies have autonomy. Then they just said, oh, Trump can usurp the legislative branch and what they have allotted to spend. He can say no via executive order. And when I see these rulings coming in, I think, was this the plan all along with the Federalist Society? Trump put 3 people on the
Yes.
bench. And the only answer to that question is yes, I agree. This has
Well,
been pre-planned.
and this has been decades in the making, long
Yes.
before Trump. And so when I often ask myself, why are these 6 justices bending the knee to this guy? And they have been groomed by Christian nationalist billionaires. And they see this as an opportunity to remake America as a Christian nationalist nation. The through line between all 6 of these justices that are driving the lower courts crazy right now, that are not upholding precedent, that are completely dismantling all power, their own power, and giving it to this batshit crazy executive, that being Kanks, is they're all funded and groomed by Christian nationalist organizations. And shame on any Democrat that ever voted for them in the interest of bipartisanship. And it just shows you we're always playing 2 separate games. They're playing one game and we're playing another. And until the Democrats start really getting serious, they are going to continue this steamroll. So let's check in. Let's check in with the Democratic leadership. Let's check in on Hakeem Jeffries. Yesterday, Eric Adams dropped out of the New York mayoral race, and Hakeem Jeffries puts out the following statement. Eric Adams has served courageously and authentically for decades as a member of the NYPD and New York State Senate and Brooklyn Borough Hall as our 110th mayor. During his time in office, violent crime is down. The building of affordable housing plans is up in New York City, has recovered from COVID-19 pandemic. As is the case in any major city, there are challenges that remain, blah, blah, blah. And then he says he thanks Mayor Adams for his service. Over the next few days, my entire focus will be on addressing the Republican healthcare crisis and funding the government. I will publicly weigh in with respect to the remaining candidates in the mayor's race well before the start of early voting. At this point, don't endorse Zoran. Don't endorse any Democrat. You are a toxic leader, a bend over leader. And it makes me question, Hakeem, are you somehow for MAGA? Because the opposition to this movement, for you to sit there and praise Eric Adams,
Right.
who several U.S. attorneys resigned, 7 U.S. attorneys from SDNY resigned when the DOJ dropped the charges against him. Eric Adams is corrupt. And therefore, by proxy, Hakeem, you are corrupt with that statement. At this point, nobody gives a shit if you endorse Zoran or not, because we all know that you're beholden to the exact same corporate interests and lobbyists that are funding MAGA. It's very clear that you're not on the people's side, Hakeem. It's very clear that you don't have a cogent opposition party at all. This is beyond, and I can't decide as an opposition party what we should do more. Demand that Hakeem and Schumer sit all this out and put somebody in that can fight, or just continue going after Trump. And I always come to the conclusion that we have to do both.
No, I completely agree with you. And I thought, how chicken shit for a congressperson from New York to see the overwhelming win of Zoran Mamdani and to not endorse and then give this glowing review of Eric Adams. I'm like, dude, violent crime might be down, but corruption was up because this guy was the ringleader. He basically sits on Trump's lap. He's given Trump a pass on everything in New York City. I just saw this and I thought, you are chicken shit. You need to step down. You cannot meet the moment. You've proven that over and over again.
We cannot have an opposition party that keeps providing daylight for the worst impulses of MAGA.
Right.
Daylight in when they voted to honor Charlie Kirk. He should have whipped every Democrat into shape and said, we're not voting for this. I'm a black man. We have black members of Congress. We have a multicultural society. Absolutely. We'll make our own to stand up against gun violence. We'll make our own, but we're not falling for the bait. But no, he does it. And then with this, he honors Eric Adams. It's just, it's so disgusting. Next up, we have Schumer, who is so incredibly worthless. I cannot believe that the Democratic Party is here. They are like they're like a conservative party right now with this leadership. It's like they're just trying to uphold the status quo. There's no progress. There's no movement. I think that they've talked to some strategists that just say, let Trump hang himself. Don't offer any opposition. Just let them spin out and be unpopular. The problem is you're leaving a vacuum. And also you're getting your base really pissed off at you. Whoever is advising you, whether it's AIPAC or the DNC, this is the suicide of the Democratic Party. Absolute suicide. You're so incredibly out of touch. Play Chuck Schumer.
Is there anything you can do to stop it as in Congress?
Yes. First, we will fight it in the courts along with, people who will file suits. But second, I would hope, Kristen, that some of our Republican colleagues, seeing I know they're loyal to Trump and does whatever he wants, but this is so far stepping over the line that I'd hope some of them would join us in legislation to prevent it from happening. We have such a proposal. I'm part of it.
I hope that all the Republicans just join in with us. I hope that they would do this because I assume that they're going to be decent. I assume that they're going to uphold the Constitution. This is why we lose. These type of centrist, pick me. I'm not going to piss anybody off, Democrats. And what you end up doing is you piss off your entire base. This is impotent leadership. It is dangerous leadership. I cannot believe we have these two beta males at the helm of the Democratic Party. Play this final clip of Hakeem.
We hope and expect that Republicans will do the right thing. And if they don't, we're going to make clear to the American why they are playing games as it relates to the swearing in of Rep-elect Grijalva.
Okay, Hakeem, we know why. We know exactly why they're playing games. Everybody knows except for you and Chuckles. Everybody on the planet knows. And you and Chuckles need to get your shit together because hoping that they're going to do the right thing is not going to get you anything. The base cannot stand you guys right now. Literally, we are begging you to stand up and fight. Quit writing letters, quit hoping. And if you're going to go on air and be that weak all the time, quit going on air and get a spokesperson that can. I cannot believe what I'm watching in this moment where you see the courts abdicating their power. You see Congress abdicating their power. And it feels like the Democratic leadership is colluding with them on it because I cannot understand this impotent, out of touch, lackluster leadership. It's so maddening. And I call on Minority Leader Jeffries and Chuck Schumer to sit down and let some fighters who aren't beholden to AIPAC to step up and go fight to save this country. All right, we'll be back later with more news.